So hey anime fans. The series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with Pokemon. So let's start the series. Why don't they just stop bothering me? A week after the Uchiha massacre, 8-year-old Uchiha's friend thought that everyone was pitying the last Uchiha and giving him special treatment. However, he was astute enough to realize that, for whatever reason, people didn't like him. He didn't notice it much while the rest of the clan was still alive, but now that he was dead, he realized that the Hyde Ninja Village residents didn't exactly like the Uchiha clan. However, some of the clan did act like jerks, according to Naruto friend's recollections, and this could have created bias against his clan. His friend's brows tightened as he saw his image in the pond. At best, he chose to ignore the villagers' stupidity because he needed to concentrate on growing stronger in order to exact revenge on his clan. Hey, are you just going to sit there and mop? Naruto's friend blinked and turned around in shock, only to frown when he saw an 8-year-old boy with blonde hair standing there with a frown on his oddly whiskered face. The boy's sapphire blue eyes were glaring at his friend, who just gave the boy a scolding look in return. He didn't have time for such stupid things, so his pal Naruto yelled, "What do you want?" He was wondering whether the boy wanted to play with him. The youngster with the whiskers growled back, "I want you to stop brooding and do something." An irritated Naruto buddy questioned, "What are you talking about?" Since someone was asking him to do something, but he was actually giving him instructions. "Stop being an emo and do something instead of sitting in front of this lake. I don't care what you do, if you keep being an idiot and sit here, you're going to rot away into nothing." The child snorted at his friend Naruto. "Stop thinking of the past and move on." The boy received an angry stare from Naruto's companion. How could he not think of the past? His own Brono just cost him his clan. He was no longer his brother with that man. This moron had no idea how much pain he was in. He had to concentrate on getting revenge. "Ack!" Naruto's friend yelled as he was pushed off the deck he was on and into the water. He gasped when he was above the water and saw the blonde-haired boy smiling. "Humph!" He snorted and returned to staring into the water. The child said, "Maybe that will wake you up and let you see better," without realizing that his companion was becoming enraged. He didn't know who this kid was, he was dead. The blonde recognized that Naruto's friend was serious and fled after he yelled, "I'm going to kill you!" and got out of the water. "How dare you do that to Naruto friend Kuin?" Naruto friend blinked to see a girl with pink hair from his class and fan club. Normally, he would detest having a fangirl next to him, but this time he didn't mind because he wanted to make sure he killed the blonde-hair boy. However, he pointed out that the girl was at least quick because they were able to chase the now frightened boy into the woods, keeping in mind that she wasn't doing well in Thai spirit art at the academy. Crap! The blonde gave Naruto's pal and his fangirl the necessary advantage when he came to a stop in front of the base of a precipitous precipice. The blonde child perspired in complete terror as the Naruto pal snarled, snapping his knuckles. "You're going to pay for doing that." The boy attempted to clarify, saying, "I was just trying to get you out of your depressing mood." "Well, good job, now I am angry," Naruto's friend remarked as his fangirl advanced, prepared to bash the boy despite her heavy breathing from the run. Crumble. "Huh! What's that?" The 3 8-year-olds blinked as they heard a rumbling sound and then felt the earth beneath them move. "Huh!" They all looked down in time to see the ground beneath them break away, and they shouted as they plunged into the cave below. Poke Poke Cave. As Haruno Sakura recovered from her fall, she moaned, "Ow!" But there was hardly any light. Sakura abruptly got up and asked, "Could you please get off?" After realizing she had been sitting on top of her crush, Uchiha Naruto's companion. Sakura said, "Oh, I am so sorry," before realizing they were in a cave of some sort. "Where are we?" Naruto's friend said, shrugging as he stood up, noting that he and his fangirl had both escaped with only minor scrapes from the fall. I don't know and don't care, all I want to do is kill Dash. Cough, Sakura and her friend Naruto said, looking down. The two 8-year-olds flinched in terror as they saw the blonde-haired kid they had been pursuing lying on the ground, coughing up blood and obviously suffering from far more cuts than they had. Cough, you alright? They asked. Sakura cried out in terror when Naruto's friend knelt down to the boy. How can you be saying that with looking like that? Cough, take that as a yes, cough. But I miscalculated on catching you both and I think I damaged one of my lungs, cough, when the girl landed on me. The boy laughed. Do you even know what miscalculated means? Naruto's companion sneered, unable to contain his emotions. The same idiot who shoved him into a pond might have saved his life by giving up his own. Life shouldn't be like this. Yes. Cough. Now help me get out of this spot. This place here might cave in, cough, the boy said, gesturing up so that both of them could see the ceiling where the hole they fell into had big cracks surrounding it. I know, cough, we aren't getting out that cough way. The boy held up his arms for his friend to grab them and help the child get it so that one of his arms was over his back and they started to enter the network of caverns. Sakura exclaimed, "Oh! Lucky!" as she took a tiny flashlight from her dress pocket. I was planning to stay over at a friend's house and have a slumber party with her, but we got in a fight and I forgot to take this out of my pocket as we were also planning to tell ghost stories, Sakura said. As she turned on the flashlight, the three heard rumbling behind them. Just before the ceiling around where they landed collapsed and sealed them inside the tunnel, the boy yelled for Sakura to join him in helping the injured child move with his Naruto friend. Even though waiting for someone would sound like a good idea, with that collapsed many will probably think we have gone for a while, he said, wiping up the blood with his arm as he looked at the tunnel. This is a cave made from water, I remember reading about such caves while in the hospital, he said. As the Naruto buddy winced, Sakura inquired, in the hospital? Had this child been admitted to the hospital? Is it possible that he lost his family in a different way than I did? His companion pondered whether the youngster truly understood his suffering. Yeah. I have no parents, but since I am kind of non-existent to people, the orphanage owners often forgot to feed me and such. Not that I cared, they already had enough kids to worry about, so I tried to do it all myself, though sadly, I kept ending up in the hospital thanks to having accidents and my health not being good as I was skinny. I mean, Aji-san worries too much, but he gave me my own apartment when I was 5. So I am not complaining. The child gasped, relieved that the coughing stopped. Aji-san? The Naruto friend questioned, frowning. The boy groaned and then started coughing violently. The headmaster, sure, he's the headmaster, but don't you think he gets tired of being called Headmaster-sama all the time? Are you alright? A friend of Naruto said, hoping the child wasn't passing away. Yeah. I am a quick healer and for some reason I can survive some pretty bad wounds as I once slashed my leg and was bleeding badly, but after 2 days in the hospital, my leg was healed with just being wrapped up and disinfected, the child said. My name is Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto. Then, why did you push Miyachi-han Naruto friend into a pond? Hissed Naruto's friend, who was still a little upset with Naruto for what he had done. Even though I don't know what it's like to really lose my family as I never had family. Your eyes are the same as me. I didn't want someone else to go through a loss like that alone as loneliness is a very painful thing, but I know you wouldn't want to be my friend, so I was trying to get you to go and make a friend with someone else. When you don't do anything and let the loneliness shallow you up completely, you either go forward or backwards. I just wanted to make sure you at least got going forward with your life, the friend of Naruto said. Is it possible that my brother was preparing to thwart my own retaliation? The companion of Naruto thought in disbelief as Sakura recalled Naruto. While Naruto's friend stared at his fangirl in disbelief, Sakura remarked, "You're the boy my parents stopped me from making friends with. I saw you all alone at the park and I wanted to play with you, but my parents wouldn't let me, saying you were bad. I see in some ways you are, but you seem also to have a big heart." Sakura sighed. "Yeah, I know. I just wish people would stop seeing me as something to hate and see the real me." Naruto sighed humbly, but his friend and Sakura heard him. "But Koff, let's get going. Use Koff a rock to mark the wall so we can see where we have been," Naruto commanded. Sakura picked up a rock and followed Naruto's instructions before they continued into the tunnel, only to find themselves in yet another trap. The three shrieked, "Ai!" before being carried away by a raging stream. "Huh!" a boy with black hair asked, cocking his head as if he heard something. The orange-yellow duck-like thing that was moving upward cocked its head, looking perplexed as well. "Psyduck Psy?" The 13-year-old youngster with unkempt hair grumbled. My imagination is acting up again." Before a splash, the boy heard shouting and jumped. "Ai!" The pallid lad said. "Crap! I know I didn't imagine that," as he ran to the falls, the source of the water supply. The duck, attempting to chase after his friend, yelled, "Psyduck duck!" "Crap!" Naruto Buddy swam towards Naruto and saw him sinking. He grabbed the blonde and pulled him to the surface. "Gasp!" Naruto friend muttered as he managed to surface. He watched Sakura emerge from the water, but he panicked when he didn't see Naruto. As his friend was pulled into the shore where Sakura was, Naruto coughed and said, "Cough! Cough! 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 Thanks," as Sakura glanced at their location. "Wow!" said Naruto's friend as she gaped at what she saw. Somehow, they found themselves in a huge forest inside a large cave that resembled a dome, with numerous waterfalls flowing into smaller caves as other caves lined the dome, with the top ones letting light into the crystals at the top and somewhat everywhere, making the light go everywhere. Nevertheless, they could see a lot of insects and birds they had never seen before flying around the cave, and strangely, the cave was so large that there were clouds near the ceiling. Naruto groaned. "We need to find Koff shelter," as his chest burned with anguish. He understood that this meant he was recovering from whatever had occurred to his body during the fall, or currently falls. "Yeah," Naruto's friend moaned as he pulled Naruto up, but as soon as he heard rustling, he turned to gaze to the side. Ack! Naruto's companion was struck down by a black blur that passed through the bushes and hit the ground. It had a mane of red hair with black spiked ends, a blue orb on the end to give it a blush-like end with a red tip, and long red claws. Sakura yelled, "What is that?" as Naruto's friend turned to see a black fox-like creature standing on its back legs. Its eyes were a very light blue, but intense blue, like the orb in its mane, but Naruto's friend's eyes were more focused on the creature's front paws. Sakura and Naruto's friend attempted to catch up with the creature, but they were unable to do so because it used the rock wall of the dome cave to aid its escape and it was much faster. "Naruto?" Naruto's friend yelled as the creature growled while he was holding on to the creature, holding him bridle style because the creature had run up a cliff and was near the top and he preferred not to hit a surface hard again today. "Wait! Stop!" Naruto's friend yelled as the creature fled, coughing and attempting to yell for assistance. Sakura fell to her knees, tears welling up in her eyes as she said, "We just lost Naruto. That thing is probably going to eat him." "No, we will find him and save him." The Naruto friends scowled as they finally saw Naruto and the creature. Sakura turned to face the serious-looking Naruto buddy and said, "None of us are going to die and I am going to make sure of it." "Oh!" Naruto's friend and Sakura turned around as soon as they heard rustling again, but to their surprise, a teenager emerged from the bushes and said, "Damn! I forgot that root there." The boy complained, dressed in rag-like clothes, his eyes dull gray with slightly darker pupils, and his hair light black. Sakura murmured, Who are you? As the adolescent turned to face her. As the individual started questioning her while standing in front of her, Sakura retreated, saying, So, I wasn't hearing things. So, who are you? Are you from the surface? How old are you? Sakura and her nerdy buddy blinked as a creature that resembled a duck raced out of the bushes, tripping over its feet and landing on its face. Sakura and Nerda's buddy both perspired as the duck stood up and waddled over to the strange teenager, saying, Sigh! More people from the surface! The companion of Nerda sighed, wishing to leave this strange person and go locate Nerda to save him. What have you been drinking? As a vein formed on Nerda's friend's forehead, the teenager said, Oh, there are two of you! The Nerda friend sighed and put it down, saying, I have been here the whole time, since he needed to concentrate on Nerda. Sorry, but since we are near the falls, my hearing can't pick up the smaller sounds I need to tell where people and stuff is, the teenager said. But who are you? Name's Itachi and my pal is Sai. Sakura said, I'm Sakura. As her Nerda companion gazed at Itachi in disbelief. But how do we get out of this place? Sakura wondered, indicating that she wanted to at least leave this area after they located Nerda. No clue, I've been stuck here for a long while, the teenager said while both 8-year-olds were shivering. Tried once, but I never tried getting out of here again after getting chased by an explode in the caves. It took my ears 3 days to recover that loud, scary situation. Sakura glanced at the duck with its hands on its head and his head tilted, and Nerda's pal said, Explode? Yeah. There are these old buildings I found and I found this useful device for this area, the teenager said, pointing to the duck creature with a red device that had 2 displays when it was flipped out. Psyduck, the Pokemon duck, is constantly holding its head due to a headache. If its chronic migraines are at their worst, it may display peculiar abilities. It appears, however, that it can never remember such episodes. A strange male voice spoke while an image of the duck displayed on the screen. Sakura questioned, perplexed. Then what's a Pokemon? Sakura and Nerda's friend stared at him in horror. I don't know except they are the creatures that live here and my pal here is one. Itachi sighed. But I don't mind, even though I am suffering from amnesia. For some reason I feel fine without my sight. I guess it possibly relates to how I got here, as I last remember seeing through my fading vision that my shoulder got jagged by a knife and falling into a river that led into here through a cave, and during that time, I went blind. It's been at least 2 or 3 years as I kind of lost count of how long I have been down here, Itachi said, showing them his scar as proof of his story. They also noticed that his shoulder was somewhat misshapen by the scar, but it was still perfectly useful even by shinobi standards. A buddy of Nerda inquired, But what's your full name? Pondering whether or not this child was who he believed this individual to be. Then it struck Nerda's companion like a ton of kunai. You Gachi? Achiwa? Uchiha Itachi? Said the Nerda friend, his expression going blank as Itachi yelled. Itachi added, Yeah, that's right. That's my name. Sakura gazed at the teenager fearfully and distrustfully, knowing as well as her Nerda friend that Uchiha Itachi was the one who killed the Uchiha clan. Inquiring as to whether this was the actual Uchiha Itachi, a friend of Nerda said, Is there anything else you remember? Sakura blinked as the Nerda buddy gave this Itachi a hug. Not really. But I do have a dream often of poking a boy in the forehead and calling him my little brother and apologizing to him. It always makes me sad ACK. To Sakura's dismay, Nerda's buddy started crying, saying, I'm so confused. I'm your brother, Uchiha Nerda friend. So, hick, the Itachi I thought was my brother, hick. That traitor that killed my family. Wasn't my brother. When Itachi ruffled his hair, Nuda's buddy's eyes widened. It's alright. I'm confused as well. But I guess I no longer have a family to go back to except you. Itachi muttered, despite being able to see that Nuda's friend was staring at him with concern. As he remembered Naruto, his eyes widened and he moved away from Itachi. Hey, do you know of a fox-like creature that is? Oh yeah. You can't see, said the Naruto friend, letting out a sigh as Itachi's eyebrow fluttered. As Sakura and Naruto friend approached from behind, Itachi said, Here, I can use this device to find the creature you are looking for. Taking out a stylus, and touching the bottom screen to cause a number of smaller pictures of creatures to appear. Just tell me to stop when I get to where the creature's info is. Itachi sighed as he flipped through the device's pages until Naruto friend found the creature. Before discovering that Itachi's hearing was sensitive, and that she flinched in agony, Naruto buddy yelled, Stop! That's it! With the assistance of his Naruto friend, Itachi touched the creature's photo and said, Alright. Zoroark, the monster fox Pokemon, can transform into different Pokemon and creatures, and it frequently employs this ability for concealment or mischievous purposes. Sakura frowned. But we don't know why it took Naruto, since the information gave them no idea. Sakura glanced at Itachi in disbelief as her friend said, Wait, I know of Zoroark. Zoroark is a really rare Pokemon, so there are always rumors going around if a rare Pokemon is around, Sakura said. Sakura pointed to the Psyduck and said, You can understand these creatures? Sakura and her companion Naruto perspired, recognizing that they could have made a mistake by asking a blind person to assist them find their friend. Yeah, you figure out the pattern of how they speak after listening for a while, Itachi groaned. Poke Poke Cave. Eh? Naruto moaned as he awoke, having fainted from exhaustion and the agony of his injuries to the creature's arm, only to discover that he was in a cave of some sort, lying on some leaves that had been fashioned into a cozy bed. I need to leave, he said. Naruto thought, grateful that his chest was only aching little now, indicating that he had nearly fully recovered. He noticed the cave's entrance and ran for it, but something grabbed him by the stomach and stopped him, knocking out his breath. Cough, cough, cough. Naruto choked up blood from the abrupt tug and looked down to see that she was bound to a rock with a rope formed of vines. He was more concerned with the thing that had abducted him, though, as it stood in front of him in the cave entrance, staring at him and saying, Oh no! I'm completely dead. As the thing approached him, Naruto thought, Ack! And gasped when the dog tethered him to the rock. This was it. Uzumaki Naruto was going to be devoured by a monster fox. It was somewhat amusing because he recalled some people mocking him by calling him a monster, a fox, and a demon. Nanny? Naruto blinked as the fox stroked him, or the top of his hair. The fox then moved away from Naruto and shook its head, causing various objects to emerge from its mane. However, two smaller pups that resembled foxes appeared. They were primarily black with red markings and walked on all fours, which was small in comparison to the larger fox. The small foxes approached Naruto, sniffed him, and then licked him. One of them leaped onto his body and landed on his hair, where it lay since it was pliable. What on earth is happening? Before noticing that the larger fox had built a fire, placed a pot on it, filled it with strangely clear water, brought it to a boil, and added other objects, Naruto reasoned. It's letting its babies play with me as it prepares to cook me. Naruto thought, horrified as he watched the creature make something in the pot. It finished by adding some hairs to the bubbling liquid before its hands ignited, turning it completely white. It then drugged into its mane, took out a soup ladle, filled it with some of the liquid, and approached Naruto. Naruto yelled, No! Before the fox seized his chin and pushed his mouth open. He swallowed the somewhat unpleasant-tasting liquid since it made him feel drowsy. What the heck is going on with my body? He exclaimed. Before drifting off to sleep, Naruto pondered, oblivious to the fox's sly smile. "Oh," Naruto moaned as he awoke with an excruciating headache. "Did I unintentionally take the wrong shortcut again and walk into the area where drunks fight in the streets and got hit by a bottle?" When Naruto blinked drowsily and realized he was in a cave, he instantly recalled what had happened and said, "No! It wasn't a dream. A fox creature snatched me." As the fox monster from earlier patted his head, Naruto gaped in horror and said, "I'm not going to let anyone harm you, my pup." But he froze when he heard a female voice say, "It seems that brew didn't work as well as I wanted. No matter, at least his fur matches. Oh, you're awake, my new pup." As the fox embraced him and massaged his head, Naruto asked, "Nanny?" "Z." Naruto melted as the animal untied him. Naruto blinked as the fox started to move toward the cave's entrance. "Now be a good boy and behave while mommy goes get breakfast," he said. "This is my opportunity. Oh. Ow. Note for once I am a ninja. Make sure to check if you're not tied around the waist." Naruto growled, attempting to bite the rope off before yelping when the fox struck him across the head. Naruto had just about reached the cave's exit when the fox looked at him, shocked, and yanked him back because he still had the rope tied around his waist, which was connected to the rock he had been tied to earlier. "No, pup, since you didn't completely turn into the form I wanted like you to be, I can't take you with me. Now behave or I will tie you back onto the rock like before." Naruto looked perplexed. "Form you wanted me like to be?" Naruto asked, then noticed a tiny puddle near the opening that was close enough for him to reach and look at his reflection. "Eh?" Naruto's face went blank when he noticed that he had fox ears where his normal ears should be, 3 dark blue dots on his forehead, and his top eyelids had turned the same color as the dots. When he turned around, he discovered a cute little curl blonde tail on his back. "There's no way I can go back to the village like this. Either people will attack me as they already hate me and call me fox, or I will be locked up and made into a zoo exhibit." Naruto moaned, all of his will of fire reduced to a feeble little candle flame. Naruto sobbed as he assumed the fetal position, causing the fox monster to shrug and leap out of the cave. "Naruto! You in there?" Naruto jumped at once and spun around to see Sakura and his friends staring at him. "They are probably going to abandon me now that I am a fox monster," Naruto said, suddenly shrinking in terror as the two gazed at him. Naruto could feel the pit of dread deepening in his stomach. Sakura scratched his ears as Naruto mewed. "They're real?" His friend blinked in surprise. "So cute!" Sakura cried as Naruto's friend took out a practice kunai and used it to cut him free. When Naruto's companion removed one of his new ears, he yelled, pouting and looking down. "You guys don't see me as a monster?" Before Sakura, Naruto's companion moaned, "Baka! We came to save you, so let's go before the Zoroark gets back." And he perspired while Naruto lay on the ground, dejected. Before being seized by a companion, Naruto moaned, "It's no use, I was already called fox and demon because of my whisker birthmarks. Now that I truly am a fox, then this could get ugly if I got back to Hyde Ninja Village." The companion of Naruto muttered, "If that creature made you like this, then there should be a cure to make you back to normal where in this cave world." As Naruto gazed at him in disbelief. "Yeah. We'll help you find cure, though the ears are cute," said Sakura. "Though they would be cuter on Naruto friend." "Hick, thanks." Naruto sobbed as his friend assisted him in descending the steep slope, and he was unable to stop crying. Cave Naru. The four of them were sitting in a dilapidated building with other buildings in similar condition surrounding it, as if it were a small town that had once existed. "Oh yeah, Psyduck reads a lot and told me about a book that was stolen from his library which was a Pokemon witch's book," Naruto said nervously as Itachi felt his tail. Sakura, wary of witches, questioned, "A Pokemon witch book?" "Hi, from what Psyduck read from it, it is really a person who uses ingredients from Pokemon to make potions for various effects. He also remembers there is a potion where it would make it possible for humans to understand Pokemon, possibly by making them into Pokemon, Itachi said as Psyduck cocked its head. So I'm a Pokemon now? Exclaimed Naruto, who didn't like this at all. He was a monster. How could someone convince those who believe he is a monster that he isn't when he is now one? Yeah, though it could not last long as most potions in the book have a time limit from what Psyduck has read to me, since I can't see, he reads for me, Itachi said. But if it is permanent, then there should antidote to it in the book. With his eyes brightening as his fire of will abruptly turned into roaring flames once more, Naruto added, So, there's a chance for me to be human again. Itachi patted Naruto's hair and said, Hi, but Naruto friend and Sakura said you were injured, so we'll rest here some while planning on getting that book back. But Naruto sulked at them. Naruto added, feeling his ribs to indicate that he wasn't coughing as before. I'm fine. I heal faster than most people, and that potion sped up my healing, as I know broken ribs for me take about possibly 3 days at least to heal. As Naruto blinked, Sakura yelled, Nanny! How could you heal that fast? You were coughing up blood hours ago. Hours? But isn't it morning? Naruto asked, cocking his head as Sakura and his companion became perplexed. The Pokemon duck beside Itachi moaned. Psyduck. Yeah, it is, Sakura and Naruto's friend said, staring at Itachi in shock. If you noticed the crystals became dark earlier was because as the sun rises and sets on the surface, the light from the crystals change as I think they reach the surface and are affected by light on the surface. Itachi sighed as the 2 8-year-olds glared at him. Or that's what Psyduck told me. I can't see, but I can sense the power of the light changes in strength to when it is day and night on my skin. Naruto squinted at Itachi, sensing something was strange. Hey, who is this person? Naruto wondered suspiciously. Upon learning that his brother had not truly betrayed him, Naruto's friend grinned and said, This is my brother Itachi. It appears the real person who killed the clan was a fake and had replaced my brother by getting rid of him 2 or so years ago, and he ended up in this place, the friend said. Itachi arched an eyebrow when Naruto prodded one of the 2 small, noticeable lumps on his upper chest and said, Brother. Naruto friend, do brothers have boobs? Nardio! Wham! Hul! Naruto cried out in agony as he held the big bump Sakura had given him. His companion was startled to see that his brother was, in fact, a sister. Itachi simply requested that the 3 of them gaze blankly at the oldest member of the group, asking, Huh! What are boobs? Oh, that's right. You have anemsia, and since you spent the last few years here around Pokemon and blind, that would explain why I would not know the differences between boys and girls, Naruto's friend said, slapping his forehead. However, if his brother was actually a girl, why in the world did the clan call him a boy, and why would the impostor also make himself male? Or was his brother, or sister, really eliminated by his clan? The Naruto friend groaned and then yawned. I'm so confused. After what you all went through, I bet you are all tired, Itachi moaned as he moved to a chest and removed some clean blankets. We best rest, he said. Naruto said, I'm not, but I'll stay awake to keep watch, as Sakura and Naruto's friend nodded. Itachi grinned and said, I'm not tired yet, so I will stay up with Naruto as well for a bit. As the 2 8-year-olds grabbed the blankets, went to where Itachi had created a bed, and prepared to sleep because they were both quite exhausted. Cave Naru. When Zoroark, the dark fox Pokemon, entered her cave, she was so happy that she had gathered so many berries that she was carrying the extras in her arms. She gave birth to 3 Zorua, one of which had yellow fur and was from a few years ago. However, the yellow Zorua vanished a few years ago. In her grief, she was lashing at stone pillars and gathering items when she saw the ideal replacement for her lost child, a human boy with matching fur and fox-like features. Although the old potion did not work as she had hoped, she now had a new pup. As Zoroark saw the rope she had wrapped around her new puppy cut and her pup gone, she startled and dropped her berries. "What the?" she asked. "No! Where did he go?" The two Zora and the Zoroark's mane peered out and said, "Huh! Where did our new older brother go?" Additionally, the other kit whimpered, "I wanted to play with him." "Roar!" Zoroark shouted, then sniffed the ground, her eyes widening. "This scent. Those two other humans? Are they family?" Zoroark asked herself, recalling the human her now pup had been with. Although the humans all had different colored furs, it was possible because humans had strangely colored furs based on what she saw when she was walking among humans to see what was on the surface. She had seen her now pup before and saw her chance to see him down in the caves, and she knew that he would not be missed. All the other humans ignored him, even calling him a fox, which made her question whether he was actually her pup, had simply turned human, and was in need of love. As Zoroark approached the drink she had prepared and grinned, the two Zorua said, "Ma, what are you doing?" "You're going to be getting more family members," Zoroark said as she rummaged through some of the things she had taken from the surface. She also took out a number of bamboo canteens, which she promptly filled with the brew before leaving the cave and following the fragrance. Zoroark quickly located her new puppy. "So, you were hated back on the surface," she said, squinting at the person she had previously seen. "Why is that human with my dog?" Zoroark growled angrily. She disliked people. Once, she unintentionally destroyed her illusion and almost died as a result. She was labeled a demon. "Yeah. I mean, I don't know why, but I guess it is because I have these whisker birthmarks," Zoroark said with an eyebrow raised. "I know the Kyubi no Yoko attacked around my birthday, so I guess since the fox demon attacked our village, people sort of became to hate me because I look like one." With shocked eyes, Zoroark asks, "Which is why you're scared now as you have fox ears and tail?" With tears in his crystal blue eyes, her new puppy moaned, "Yeah. How can I prove people I am not a monster when now I am one?" "Is he sad and hurting?" Zoroark pondered while holding a branch. "I want to become headmaster so people can finally see me." "I don't know what a headmaster is, but if you are just looking for attention, would that make your life pretty shallow?" Zoroark's eyes widened at the dark-furred human. "That's a stupid reason." "I know. But I'm kind of non-existent. So, I first want people to notice me, so that I can figure out what really is important to me, as right now, I don't have anything important," Zoroark said, observing her pup gaze at the ground. The human patted her pup's fur and Zoroark squinted. "Baka, you have Sakura and Naruto friend and me." With his Zorua ears twitching, the blonde fur human replied, "Huh? What are you talking about?" His eyes widened and he glanced down. "But Naruto friend and you are family, and I know Sakura's parents are probably looking for her. This is all my fault. If I hadn't dash," he said. "No. It was a freak accident. But now you have 3 friends." A Psyduck scowled at the two humans, saying, Psyduck. "Oh, sorry, I mean 4. No offense, huh, Psyduck?" The human with dark hair laughed. "But seriously, friends and family is what I think is the most precious. Since I lost my memory, I found friends are now the most precious to me." "Yeah. But Sakura and Naruto friend aren't my friends. In fact, the dark-haired human stroked his ears while the fox-eared human mewed. As Zoroark ground her teeth, the dark-haired human commented, "Stop blaming yourself. Sakura and Naruto friend were blaming themselves just like you are now, but I promised to find a cure to what the Zoroark did to you, that way we can all go to the surface together." Zoroark shouted, leaping out of the tree line she had been hiding in and startling the human and her pup, saying, "You are not taking my pup back into that pit of torture!" What was that? Her body started to glow red, and the two other people her pup's age fled the building. The dark-furred human yelled, "Move!" and pulled her puppy and the other two humans into hiding when she threw a ball of red energy around herself, which spread out and destroyed some of the structures and the forest behind her. When the eldest person approached the group with the Psyduck, the pink-fur human said, "Nanny? How'd do that?" The dark-furred human said, taking a deep breath. "Help! Zoroark is attacking our homes!" Zoroark and her pup, along with the two young humans, blinked at the human before the Psyduck's eyes glowed and several rocks lifted up with a blue outlight surrounding them and shot towards her. She easily avoided them, only to be shocked when the human somehow got next to her. "Leave us alone!" the human yelled, trying to kick her in the side, but she ducked and the kick struck the ground, creating a sized crater. "I won't let you harm my sibling and his friends, or destroy the homes of my friends in the process," she said. "Homes of your friends?" Zoroark said, startled to discover that hundreds of Pokémon, including some that resembled objects, some that resembled plants, and those that were fairly humanoid, had surrounded them. "Stay out of this! All I want is my pup!" Zoroark exclaimed. The older human said, "You mean Naruto?" and gestured to the fox-eared human. "Your pup?" "Yes. I seen what he has faced in that human village. I am not about to let him suffer anymore. I lost a pup with similar fur, and he never had a parent to begin with. So, I am taking him as my pup," Zoroark gasped. The older human sighed. "Taking him by his will and changing him is not what a mother does." As a group of green creatures, known as Bulbasaur, hurled a number of spinning, pointy leaves at her. She managed to avoid them, but saw that the bamboo canteens she had in her mane emerged. Vulpix! A tiny orange fox that Zoroark recognized as a Vulpix unleashed a fireball that struck the canteen and burst into a massive purple smoke screen. The two other humans started to scream as the fog enveloped the space, and the older human cried in agony. "Cough! Cough! Ack! What's going on?" "Naruto friend! Sakura! Itachi! Are you alright? What's happening?" Zoroark saw her pup in a panic, attempting to pull people out of the fog while various Pokémon scurried around. "Ack!" Zoroark's eyes widened as she saw a stampede of shapes that passed over her pup due to lower visibility. "No!" yelled Zoroark, releasing another surge of crimson energy that swept the smoke away. She hurried over to where she saw her pup fall and sighed with pleasure as she saw him struggle to escape between some stone that had protected him and some of the people from the stampede. When Zoroark appeared, the puppy moaned and then shivered, saying, "Ack? Please! Just don't hurt them." Her pup gave her a startled look before her two other puppies emerged from her mane and leaped onto her human pup. Zoroark's eyes widened in astonishment at the tears in his eyes. "I'm not," she said. As the two Zoro tackled him, the human puppy yelled, "Big brother! Play with us!" "But my friends," Zoroark grinned at the symptoms as soon as he saw the humans, who were shaking and out cold with flushed faces. "They will be alright." "Huh?" Zoroark asked, noticing the angry looks she was receiving and turning to face the damage she had caused. If I promised to help repair the damage, would you all be pleased with that? I was blinded in anger at losing my new pup," Zoroark said, bowing deeply in apology as the other Pokémon perspired at the fox Pokémon before they heard a sneeze and saw a slight flash. "Ack! Some of the dust went up my nose," Zoroark said as she turned around, her eyes watering with pure delight to see that the human had been replaced by a gold-furred Zoro with blue tips and marks where red should have been, as well as 3 blue whisker-like markers on each cheek. "Nanny? What happened to Maisi Cho? The human pup returned in a flash, and everyone around her perspired as it sneezed repeatedly, changing into Zoro once more. Oh! Sniffed Zoro again. Psyduck sighed. Bless you. While everyone but Zoroark was perplexed by what was happening. Cave Naru. So you found them were in some sort of cave-in? The third headmaster asked, sighing at the information that the sixth headmaster had given him. 3 children had been reported missing from the academy, and it now appeared that they might have perished in a strange accident. Yes, however, it seems they survived and moved away from where the cave-in happened and fell deeper into the caves, the third headmaster said while staring at the silver-haired Jonin before him. There's a wind coming up and it seems the spot they went into after the cave-in was a water tunnel and probably pushed them deeper into what appears to be a pretty large cave network. They are most likely alive as from the pooling water, and the fact we found some fish means they at least have what they need to survive till we get down there to rescue them. Especially with Naruto with them. Even though the third headmaster loved Naruto very much, he was aware that the youngster hadn't been performing well in the academy, so he asked, Huh? Why? Sixth headmaster added, He may be a little short on brains, but he is clever enough to know what to do when in a dangerous situation. I have seen his handiwork avoiding getting mobbed by the women in the baths after he accidentally got caught playing around in one of the back baths and the ladies confused him for a perv. He was lounging in a tree when the blonde outran the enraged group of women. Oh! The third headmaster moaned, pale at the idea of another Jiraiya and Hyde ninja village. Then, go into the caves and find them, he said. The third headmaster had 2 obligations. He hadn't wanted to lose the missing girl Hanuro Sakura, and he had promised to safeguard Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Naruto's buddy. Well, that's the major problem. We are currently trying to find a part of the cave that isn't so weak or hazardous, though it seems they'd probably gotten pushed into the safer area already, as with how much water had filled the spot where they went in. It is probably a source to a cave lake or something, thanks to my dogs heard rushing water as well under the ground where the cave-in happened, the sixth headmaster said. It will take some time to find a safe route to them, though I at least figured out around the area where they should be at. I see. They really are alright and alive, grinned the third headmaster, who wondered how he would manage without that tiny ray of light in his boring life full of terrible paperwork. I do as well, the sixth headmaster muttered, pondering how the 3 children could have possibly ended there over a weak section of a cave tunnel in the first place. Cave Naru. What the heck, Naruto? Exclaimed Naruto's companion as he sat up and rubbed his head. Ugh! He moaned as his body ached. Ack! Get off! Exclaimed Naruto's buddy as he blinked and heard Naruto's voice. Yes! Naruto friend! You're alright! Exclaimed Naruto's friend, whose face was buried in a mess of blonde hair. I thought you were never going to wake up. Grr! Naruto, get off! Naruto's companion yanked the mass of blonde hair from his face, but he blinked when he realized it was a cute gold-furred fox pup with blue paws and markings instead of Naruto's head. Nanny? He asked. The kid snarled. Naruto friend! Let go of me! So that Naruto's friend could see that it shared Naruto's eyes and whisker-like markings. And Naruto? A startled Naruto buddy said, clutching the fox by its front legs. Yeah. It seems that potion Zoroark gave me gives me 2 forms, a Pokemon form and a human form with some of my Pokemon form, which is Zorua, said Naruto. Only different in this form from the normal Zorua is my fur coloring, markings, and the fact I can talk just fine as if in human form. Naruto's friend groaned. So you now became portable, drawing a frown from the fox that was Naruto. Shut yoop chu! Naruto sneezed to return to his human shape, unintentionally squashing his friend. Oh, I'm back to normal, Naruto moaned, scratching his nose. In an attempt to push Naruto away, his pal grunted. Get off! Sakura sat up and rubbed her eyes, moaning. Ugh! Who is making all the racket? She peered at Naruto and his friend, waiting for her eyes to pop out. Naruto friend? Naruto? You're gay? Sakura cried, shielding her eyes from the scene. "No!" exclaimed the two lads as they bolted from one another. "I'm straight! Naruto just fell on me!" exclaimed Naruto's friend, causing Sakura to exhale with relief. However, Naruto's friend saw a problem and said, Huh! Sakura? Did you get your hair cut? What? No. Sakura touched her hair to feel that it was different from before. Where's a mirror? She asked, panicking, before realizing that they were in the same building as before. She looked in a broken mirror nearby and discovered that her hair was in a sort of bob cut, with her bangs creating a round petal shape on her forehead, and the sides of her hair creating two larger petal shapes cut on the sides. Additionally, there were 3 thin, green leaves on top of her head. Zoroark explained to me earlier that the smoke you all breathed in was the potion that made me get these. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief, pointing. But it used the DNA of the Pokemon that ran over us in the panic the smokescreen made, so you are all different Pokemon than me. Sakura, who was crying and had a plant sprouting on top of her head, questioned. Different Pokemon? Though if you hadn't been touched, you all would have been like my pup, Sakura and Naruto's companion said as they stood close to the Zoroark and rose into a battle posture. Nanny? Wait? You can speak our tongue? Said Naruto's companion, squinting his eyes before blinking. No, we can understand their tongue now, though Zorua and Zoroark can use telepathy. Naruto grumbled as Sakura and his companion gave him a startled look. Though I don't know which Pokemon you two are, he said. Yeawan! Good morning! Itachi jumped up and stretched as everyone perspired. Her ponytail was yawning because her bangs had grown into a large jaw. Huh? She asked, although her eyes were still very light gray, with pupils that should have been black but were oval in shape. What the? She rubbed her eyes and blinked repeatedly before opening them again and crying. Naruto friend, why is the back of your hair appears to be a Psyduck's butt? Before noticing that Psyduck had moved past him and reached Itachi, Naruto buddy blinked and said, What? My hair doesn't look like that. Naruto friend then grumbled and watched Itachi bolt from the building. With tears streaming down her cheeks, Itachi exclaimed, Amazing! This is beautiful! She gazed at the dome cave they were in, as well as the surrounding structures and forest, and exclaimed, I can see! I can see again! Sweating at the human's happiness, Zoroark groaned and asked, What are you shouting about? No way! You're not blind anymore! Sakura said, startled. When Itachi raced into the wall, all the humans and Pokemon recoiled. Yes! Though things are blurry, I can see color. Itachi laughed sheepishly. Ow. Oops. Thought that was the opening to get back in. We need to bring you to the surface so you can get some glasses, said the Naruto friend with a sigh. All 4 humans turned to face Zoroark in confusion and said, TCH, you are not going to the surface. You are important to my pup, and I am not about to let him go back to the surface and suffer again, they said. Sakura questioned his friend. Your pup? And saw that he was puffing out his cheeks. Stop calling me your pup! Naruto snarled, exposing his now canine-like fangs, albeit he had fangs in the past. I am beginning to wonder if you are exactly my missing pup, Sakura, a friend of Naruto, said. Zoroark said, 8 years ago, I lost my firstborn pup while up on the surface, stealing things humans no longer needed. A large 9-tailed beast I knew was not a Pokemon attack, and I lost my firstborn pup and my mate. He also had blonde fur like you, and your markings even match except for the whisker-like ones. Wait. You're saying Naruto was a Pokemon to begin with? Sakura said with disbelief. How is that possible? He's just a normal human like us. I'll show you, Zoroark said as she extracted her 2 additional pups from her primary puppy. Her body then flashed purple, and she leaped to her feet, performing a black flip as her body transformed into an exact replica of Sakura. No way, said Naruto's companion, startled by the illusion he was witnessing. That's similar to the henge, but it was perfect because I don't sense even core energy being used as I remember those Pokemon using core energy to use interesting moves earlier. It is my ability as well as my pup's ability. We can create illusions which we have used to hide ourselves. Zoroark grinned as he sprang back up and flipped to return to normal. He moaned and smirked. What? But if that's true, why do I suck at the henge and Gen Spirit art? Wait. Since I am one now. Naruto focused before his body started shining purple like Zoroark and he leaped to do a black flip, but when he landed, he was Naruto's pal. Eh? Both Naruto friends flinched, but the actual one did so for reasons other than Naruto having changed into him. What's with my ears? The genuine Naruto buddy said in alarm while the fake one smiled and laughed. Itachi groaned before noticing her ponytail and realizing it was a new mouth. I guess you're a grass type because I also see green on Sakura, so you're both grass types. I heard about the potion thing, though it takes me a little bit to fully get going when I wake up, he said. Whoa! I'm a Mawile! Who cares? My ears are leaves! Exclaimed Naruto's pal, who had drooping, sheep-like ears. It means you can possibly use grass-type moves Pokemon use. Since I am a Mawile, I am a steel type, Itachi clarified. However, Zoroark, could you please return the book you stole so we can make an antidote for what you used? Itachi shifted the topic. What are you talking about? I never took any books as I can't read. Sakura and the 2 friends from Naruto shiver with. The potion I used has been passed down from my parents and from their own parents, and so one from back when Pokemon used to live with humans. Many Zoroark lived in isolation, but witches would live in harmony with us, asking only for us to use our illusion power to hide their homes, and they let us live in their homes and give us free food. I know several potions just because of that. Then. What about a cure for this? Sakura inquired, terrified that she would spend the rest of her life as a plant head. Cha, even then, Naruto's friend's ears are so cute right now, and he will most likely grow up to be a handsome elf, inner Sakura chimed, yet she was angry as well. There isn't one. Many of the witches used that potion to become Pokemon after the wars began to destroy the world Pokemon, and humans knew as Pokemon ran and found whatever shelter they could find with the few humans related to us. Most of us coming underground, the humans that followed us lived here for a good while. However, since there was so few, they used the same witch's brew to become Pokemon as well, or they died of disease or old age and humans became extinct down here, though I must have messed up an ingredient or 2 and now you are like the way you are now. Zoroark then growled. However, I still go to the surface, collecting things as even though I do not like humans, I do like the things they make. I saw my pup as a human being denied his existence by the village, and when I accidentally dropped my illusion to hide myself once, I was confused for a demon. Humans have completely forgotten about Pokemon and the past in which caused the destruction of a world of peace and harmony between Pokemon and humans. Sakura realized something about Naruto's illusion of Naruto friend and shuddered. So, we're stuck like this? Hi, and even if you still want to go to the surface, I will not tell you where to go. I am the only one who knows how to get to the surface, Zoroark said to her Naruto companion. My pup will not be suffering anymore by the hands of humans, and I shall not let you 3 go either as you are important to my pup. Hey! It's alright if they go, exclaimed Naruto, who sounded like Naruto's friend, shocking the majority of the beings in the room. However, Naruto yelled when Sakura touched his tail, which protruded from the illusion. Naruto then jumped up and flipped gain for the illusion to return to normal, but he snickered before blinking. Nanny? Why am I snickering? It's a normal behavior for Zoroark said with a smirk. Is this possibly you reverting completely back to your old self, pup? I am not your pup. Naruto snarled once again in rage. I'm human. I can't be a beast. I'm not a monster. Naruto yelled as he attempted to flee, but Itachi stopped him while tears streamed down his cheeks. Naruto, Pokemon are not monsters, though they are animals. They have emotions and manners much like humans, Itachi said to Naruto. Plus, even if you are a monster, you're still you. Though now my little bro, your female friend there, and I are also in the same boat, you're not alone. Naruto relaxed and exhaled wearily. Okay. Sakura pouted. But what Pokemon are we if Naruto's a fox and Itachi-san is a Mawile or whatever? As Itachi approached and went too close for her comfort before taking out the gadget Itachi had previously used. Itachi added, Let's see. Oh, you're a Shurine, and showed Sakura a charming Pokemon that resembled a weather doll. Sakura blushed at the Pokemon's cuteness and said, That's what I am. Itachi added, Yeah, your hair now matches its head, before approaching Naruto's friend closely to observe him. I can't tell with you, Naruto friend. With just the ears. It's impossible as there are a lot of grass types with leaves on them. Itachi scowled. That sucks. Naruto's buddy pouted before seeing that Naruto was staring at the ground. Naruto, are you alright? She asked. Naruto groaned and sat down, looking sad. I'm alright. I'm just tired, he said. Zoroark added, Well, then we'll go back to the cave, before perspiring at the look she received from Naruto. As other Pokemon of the bird and bug types scattered or fled in terror at the roar, Naruto yelled, No! I'm staying with my friends.